Arizona basketball gets the recruit that it has been looking for and we have been hinting at for a long time.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for giving me the Locked On Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. This episode is brought to you today by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Now, we are going to talk Arizona basketball. We are going to talk about Ivan Karchenkov. And we're going to talk about his skill set. We're going to talk about the small forward position. Is the roster set, an early offer, and some Arizona baseball as well. But first, let's talk a little bit about Ivan and where everything is with Ivan. Now, listen, for the longest time, we have been telling you that this is going to be the one that is going to be committing to the University of Arizona, and here he is. Listen, you get a lot of people that are like, oh, well, why is Arizona not going after Tyon Grant Foster or whatever the case may be? Well, you got your reasoning right now because Tommy Lloyd is obviously very comfortable with somebody overseas and he knew exactly who he wanted to get. Arizona wasn't taken by surprise by Carter Bryant leaving or anything like that. They knew that there was a good chance that he could leave and they knew exactly who they wanted to get. And this is who they got. And so you look at his skill set, there's a lot to like about him. First and foremost, he's legitimately about 6'6", I'd say. I don't think he's 6'8", and he's very, very strong. He's a guy that, you watch him and you watch everything that he can do, and you're like, man, that's a big boy right there. He is, his skill set is very, very, like I said, he's very strong. You add him, and you see that, that small forward position is going to be a battle. And I think that's the way that Arizona wanted it to be. And I think the thing about him too is that he's not going to be scared by anything. He has got a lot of experience. He has played against very high levels of competition. And watching him too, he's also somebody, too, that he's a good passer. He's a good defender. He's physical. He's got Big 12 defensive physicality to him as well. And he is somebody that you just kind of look at and you're like, man, that guy's best basketball is in front of him, and I think that's something that's very, very exciting to see. Now, I think the one thing too that's also exciting is to see exactly where he is going to fit in next to Dwayne Aristode. Now, Aristode is, and we're going to get back to Ivan here in a second, but Dwayne Aristode is a next level, he's a next level type athlete. He is a really, really good dude. He's a player that you kind of watch him and you're like, man, could he be a one and done possibly? He could be a one and done. He's got that kind of potential to him. He's big, he's strong, and keep in mind, this was a guy that was a top 10 player in his class before he had an injury. So again, he is, you watch him and you're kind of like, all right, man, that next step, it could be really high, but that's going to be a fun competition, to watch them. We're going to get back to Dwayne here in just a second, but, back to Ivan, he is like I said, he's played in the highest level of competition. He's gone against NBA players, and he's going to fit in very, very well he's going to fit in very, very well in this conference. And I think that's the thing that Tommy Lloyd was looking for. Somebody that is going to fit in, somebody is going to fit in very, very well, and somebody that's going to be ready. And I think the thing about him, too, and it says that I think is also very intriguing is, is he a 2-year player? Is he a 1-year player? What is the case? Because he's on NBA radars. I don't want to hear anything about Philly B. I keep getting people saying, oh, well, Philly B. This isn't Philly B. This is somebody that you look at some of the write-ups. This is a guy that's viewed as this is a guy that is viewed as, somebody that's going to play in the NBA, and he is going to be somebody that is going to he's going to be somebody that is, like I said, he's got all the skills to be able to be that next level talent, and I think that's why so many people are so enamored by him, and I think that's why Tommy Lloyd was so enamored by him as well. Watching him, he's a really, like I said, he can just do a lot of different stuff, and that's, I think, what's exciting about him. He also is not going to be intimidated by anything. He's going to be ready to rock and roll, and that's going to be something that's going to be very, very fun to watch with this squad moving forward. But this is a dude, I think, out of the entire, this is who Tommy wanted, and Tommy knew exactly what he is going to. Tommy knew exactly what he was going to get, and Tommy was able to get exactly what he wanted. And I think that's something that's going to be exciting for this Arizona team. Now, watching this, he is also somebody that you say, okay, what should those statistical expectations be? And I'm going to say this. I think between him and Dwayne, I think they're both going to be about 8-point per game guys. And I think you could say the same about ADO. I think they're going to all be kind of in that I think they're going to be about 23 points per game between them, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got that. Then, you watch him too, and he is, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that he's LeBron James physically, or that, that he's going to be this next level athlete that everyone's like, oh gosh, what are you possibly going to do with him? There's not going to be any of that. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, he's also somebody that you watch him and he's just he gets it. I mean, he is a big, strong dude. He's got broad shoulders, and he can dunk. He's a very, very good defensive player, and I think that's something else that we really need to look at. Where is this team's defense going to be? And I think this guy's defense is going to be built for the Big 12, and I think that's something that Tommy Lloyd was obviously looking for. He clearly wanted somebody that was going to be ready to play. This dude's going to be ready to play. Now, again, how good is he going to be? I get it. Those are always fair. Those are always fair questions because nobody really knows. I don't know, and I don't think anybody else knows just how good any of these guys are going to be. But you watch enough of these films, you watch enough of people that are viewed in very, very high circles, and you see somebody that is really somebody who's really kind of, somebody that this isn't nearly the chance. This isn't getting the 21-year-old from Europe or, that Illinois got or anything like that. This is a guy that, you watch him, he's going to be good. Same like with the North Carolina kid. I know that the North Carolina kid's got a lot of, can play. He's also 21. I think Arizona was looking ahead a little bit to 2026 because you're going to need a roster that's going to have guys because you're going to lose a lot of guys. You're going to lose a lot of players, and I think you're trying to find some kind of roster stability in there, and that's exactly what Arizona got here with Ivan. He is, like I said, I would expect him to be a difference maker, and I'd expect him to be a difference maker from day one. So we shall see how it plays out. But good job on Murph and the staff. Ivan is he's viewed as, like I said, he's viewed as one of the better players in all of. He's viewed as one of the better players in all of Europe in that age bracket, and you can see why. There's a lot of reasons why you can see that this guy is going to be viewed as a difference maker, and I think that's what's kind of exciting about him. Now, the next one too that I think is going to be interesting though is this small forward battle, because this small forward battle is. I think we're kind of at a stage now where you look at it and you would look at it and you're kind of like, all right, what's the next case then? Where are we? The transfer portal though is it's done, it's closed, but Arizona now has a roster that is pretty set, and I think contrary to what some people think, I do think that we are kind of at the stage now where you can start looking at a team that has top 10 national title aspirations. But first, Monarch Money, my friends. Monarch Money. Check it out, Monarch Money. Okay, here's the deal with Monarch Money. We've been going over this. Monarch Money is where you want to be. Now, listen, at the end of the day, here, think about it this way. Have you ever checked your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? I do it all the time. It's annoying. And between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money, it's not just a budgeting app. It's literally a total command center where you can get everything. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you just stop managing your money and start building wealth. They got surprising insights, all in one convenience, easy collaboration, and take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. All right, now, with Monarch Money as well, you want to be able to get some money, check it out at Monarch Money. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. All right, now we've got more to get to here, obviously. So the roster is pretty much set. So at this stage in the game, where do we feel about the roster? I'm pretty excited about this roster, to be honest with you. I am more than fine with getting Ivan Ivan. And the thing about him too is that I don't need. Arizona's got a really, really good roster already. You've got Jaden Bradley. You got Braden Burries. You got the two small forwards and ADO that we've talked about. And not only that, you've also got a bunch of guys at the same stage who are, you watch and they're fairly impressive. Koa Pete is way better than Trey Townsend. I think the thing that also is kind of interesting about this team is, I think you've got more next level potential here. I think you've got a little bit of a higher upside, and I think that's something that I think Arizona fans have been clamoring for quite a while. You wanted a team with higher upside, and I think this team has it. Now, the first thing that you got to look at it from an upside perspective is, what are your NBA players like? And I think that's, again, that's something that you got to look at. What are their NBA players like? And you've got multiple guys that for a fact will be playing in the NBA. Braden Burries and Koa Pete will absolutely be playing in the NBA. I'm not breaking any news there. I'm telling you exactly what it is. Now, the other thing, too, that you got to look at is where exactly is, some of these other guys. I think Dwayne Aristode has a very good chance of playing in the NBA. The other thing I'm going to say about Dwayne Aristode is, everybody's talking about Carter, and I get it. Nobody wanted to lose Carter, but at the same time, this is also a guy that averaged 6 and 4. I don't see any reason why Dwayne Aristode can't put up what Carter Bryant did. As a matter of fact, I think that he will. And that's obviously that's another thing that I think is very, very enticing about all of that. Now, where are we then with the front court? The front court, I think, is going to be big and physical. The thing that I like about this front court, though, is I think defensively, I think there's going to be some next level potential to it. Now, listen, KJ Lewis was he was a scrappy defender. He did some really good things, but he also wasn't a lockdown guy in that, again, he could push people around a little bit, but he was never a lockdown guy. And I think sometimes people thought that, that was basically that. He is not. He was never that dude. He is a guy that, was advantageous, made some plays, got a lot of steals, but also was never going to be the player that I think that you were looking for. So, you got Ivan, you got Dwayne Aristode. I think both those guys have NBA potential. KJ is not going to play in the NBA. And again, I like KJ. I wish KJ was still here, but KJ is not going to play in the NBA. These dudes have real possibilities of playing the NBA, especially Aristode. So there is that. Now, where is this with the rest of this team? Like I said, I think this is a top 10 team. I think this is going to be Tommy's best team. And I look at this roster and I think to myself, man, this is a really darn good roster. And it's I think he did a good job. Now you get people like Goodman and Douster that are, and I don't dislike Rob. I dislike Jeff a great deal, but they're clearly trolling about Arizona and taking the step back and all of that, because that's not really the case here. This is a team that I think is going to be better than last year, and I feel pretty good about it. I feel that this is a team that is going to be a team that is going to be, like I said, top 10. And what I always want to tell people, and I always say this, is that people, you don't really know until like things happen. But like with UConn, nobody knew that team was going to be awesome. I think everybody just tries to pigeonhole teams in, and you get to the stage where you're like, okay, well, this team's a lot better. Nobody knows. Every team has a little bit of a different vibe to it, and sometimes it's really difficult to say. But this team, like I said, I think it's got the potential to be stronger. I think it's got the potential to be much tougher as well, and that's what you want. And last year's team was tough. That was a big part about it that I liked, was that last year's team was tough. And that is a big thing with this, is where, you get this team and, you get these guys and you're like, all right, what is that? What's that next level? Where can we reach? That's the part that I think is going to be enticing for a lot of different people. So we'll see. But again, you got to give Tommy and the staff a ton of credit here, because again, they knew exactly what they wanted. And not only did they know exactly what they wanted, they're basically at the stage too where you're just kind of like, all right, well, basically it's time to rock and roll right now, and that's what's going to be fun. Now, another thing too, an early offer for Arizona, an early offer, Bruce Branch. We like early offers on this show. Bruce Branch was offered 2027 kid. Again, you watch him and you say that is what a player at Arizona should look like. Arizona went in early, and I love it. And that is a good thing. Again, I got to give the coaching staff a lot of credit here, because, like I said, in the past, Arizona's kind of gone, for a little bit of the, how do I put this? They've kind of gone, we're going to wait later. We're going to hold off all of this. Yeah, no, you don't need to do any of that. And I think that's kind of where we're at now with Tommy Lloyd, is that I think he's taking a few more chances. And I think that's also why we're having TJ Benson on the staff. Really, TJ knows this is going to be the situation here where you're like, all right, cool. Let's see what we can do. I think he's trusting TJ. I think he's trusting these guys to be able to really kind of, I think he's really, expecting, them to be able to, basically be able to, go around and be able to find out exactly what they need. I love it. Again, Bruce Branch, that is an easy kid to offer. Not only is he an easy kid to offer, he is a guy that you watch and you're for 5 seconds and you're like, okay, that dude could be a one and done by the time everything hits. That's also what's going to be exciting about that. So, like I said, we shall see. Now, the next one I think that we need to talk about then is who could be next. There's probably another kid in Phoenix. I would assume that's going to get offered. I don't know that for a fact, but I would assume in 2027 he's going to get offered as well, because you already got the 26 kids. You got Cam Williams. We've been over all of those guys. Now, what is that next step? That's going to be interesting. Now, Arizona baseball goes for something that it hasn't been to in quite a long time. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about where we are at now with Arizona baseball. Back the chip, baby. I never understood why so many people were against the chip. Why so many people were against the chip hail higher. I didn't get it. It didn't make any sense. So there's that. So the chip hail higher makes a ton of sense to me. That's kind of where I'm at with Chip Hale. It is he is a he's a grinder. You want him to be there. Not only do you want him to be there, you want him to basically be that guy who is, that he's ready to get in there. He's ready to grind. And he was always going to be a good recruiter. I never understood this philosophy that he was, that, when people were like, oh, okay, well, Chip, he doesn't have any recruiting bona fides or whatever the case may be. Come on, man. Come on. That is, he knows enough people, and he always knew enough people that, that was going to be the case. He was going to be able to find players, and he was going to be able to find prospects. And I think that's something that is, and he's done exactly that. So the people that thought, oh, well, Chip's not going to be able to recruit, those people just didn't like Chip. And you look at this roster right now, this is a roster that is loaded. This is a really, really good roster. You got a lot of college baseball, or a lot of professional baseball player possibilities on here. And I think that's something that you watch and you're kind of like, okay. So, that's there. There's that. Now, the bats have been incredible, and I think that's something that is exciting about this. The bats have been incredible, and I think you got to hope that continues. So, again, why didn't people really buy into Chip? I don't know. Maybe it's because they viewed Chip as a I don't know. I don't know what the case may be, but Chip is the man. So there's that. So I watch it, and we're kind of like, all right, well, what is that next step then? I think Arizona can absolutely beat North Carolina. As a matter of fact, I will look at Arizona and North Carolina, and I think to myself, yeah, that's a game that Arizona can absolutely win. Not only can they win, I think that they are going to win that series, and I think they're going to be going off to Omaha. By the way, Arizona going to be the Wildcats going to be going off to Omaha, and if that's the case, I will be there. I will be there. That will be very fun. So, like I said, that will be that will be a lot of fun, and that's going to be, like I said, that's going to be a fun opportunity for everybody. But man, time to break through though. I mean, you got into the super regional, and I don't really care. Everyone's like North Carolina this, North Carolina that. Arizona's playing about as good a baseball as there is any team in the country is right now. So, like I said, you can save it a little bit with me and some of that. I do think that we are kind of at the stage now with this team that, don't take them for granted. I don't know what that series line is going to be. I don't know what those game lines are going to be. But this is a team that you do not want to. How do I put this? You do not want to really disregard, because they are going to be. They are going to be really, really good. And I think that's kind of where it's at with this one, so we shall see. Now, the next thing is can the pitching, can it hold up? The pitching, like I said, it's been good. The one thing about the pitching a little bit, though, is there's been some games where it's kind of like, it's kind of up, it's kind of down, it's kind of up, it's kind of down. But that is, like I said, that's kind of where it leads with that. But like I said, if the bats keep hitting this way, I don't see any way that I don't see any reason why Arizona can't win this. So again, that's why I'm excited to see all of this. So we shall see. But Chip Hale has done a really good job. He's got a monster recruiting class coming in next year, and that's something as well. You look at Chip Hale's recruiting class, and you're like, wow, okay, cool. You got some of the absolute best kids from Phoenix coming in, and you've also got, you're going to have some holdovers as well. It's going to be a little bit of a rebuild, but that's just kind of where we are. That's just kind of where we are in the world of college athletics right now. Every year is going to be a rebuild. It's not like some of the stuff you see in the back where you got Miles Simon for 4 years, or you got, Brandon Sanders, Teddy Bruschi, Sean Harris, Tony Bowie, and Rob Waldrop or, Jimmy Hopkins. You don't have those guys. You don't have those type of situations anymore. So you got to be a little bit more realistic about where things are at that point. All right. Now, we're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to talk Arizona baseball. We are going to talk Arizona has an early offer as well, Mr. Bruce Branch. I think we need to really dive into that because, again, I think you could make the case that Bruce Branch is about as talented a player as there is in the conference. He's a very, very good player. Not only is he a really, really good player, he is just like I said, he's just a really, like I said, he's a really talented guy. There's a lot to like about Bruce Branch, and I'm excited, excited that they're offering early. So we shall, like I said, we shall see. But again, good stuff for Arizona. Wanted to break down Ivan. Wanted to talk about a little bit the Big 12 fit. Wanted to get a little bit of Arizona baseball in there, and again, obviously a little bit of Bruce Branch. But things are going really, really well right now for Arizona, and I think that's the fun part about all of this. But as always, very much appreciate you all making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Locked On, your team every day. We will be back with you tomorrow, TTFN, and have a great, great rest of your Tuesday.